Hey everyone, and a massive, warm welcome back to the channel. To every single person watching this right now, wherever you are in the world, I am sending you the biggest, most positive vibes. I truly hope you're feeling fantastic, happy, and most importantly, healthy today. Take a deep breath, relax, and get ready for a story that will completely change how you look at one of the most iconic products on the planet. Now, I want you to picture a can of Coca Cola. You know exactly what it looks like, right? That familiar red can, the classic contour bottle, maybe even those vintage Santa Claus ads, they're all burned into our minds. That specific shade of red is one of the most recognized colors in the entire world. It's a symbol of refreshment, of Americana, of global culture. But what if I told you that this entire identity is built on an illusion? What if the color you associate so strongly with this fizzy drink is nothing more than a costume, a carefully chosen disguise? What if I told you that without the addition of a specific man-made ingredient, Coca-Cola wouldn't be red at all? It would be green. A murky, unappetizing, mossy green. It sounds like wild conspiracy theory, but it's actually a simple fact of chemistry and a brilliant story of marketing genius that helped create one of the most powerful brands in human history. So, let's pop the top on this incredible story and pour out the fascinating truth about why Coke is red. To understand why Coke would be green, we have to go back to the very beginning, to the origin of the secret formula itself. In 1886, in Atlanta, Georgia, a pharmacist named Dr. John Stith Pemberton was working in his backyard, trying to create a patent medicine. The world was full of these tonics and elixirs that promised to cure everything from headaches to impotence. His formula was a complex syrup that included several key ingredients. There was coca leaf extract, which comes from the same plant used to make cocaine, and cola nut, a caffeine-rich nut from Africa that gave the drink its name. There were also various oils, like cinnamon, citrus, and vanilla, and a sweet, caramelized sugar syrup. Now, when you mix all of these natural extracts and ingredients together, something interesting happens. The coca leaf extract, the cola nut, and the other components, when combined and dissolved in water, create a liquid that is not a appealing, sparkling clear beverage. Instead, it's a dark, murky, and honestly, kind of unappealing brownish-green color. Think about the color of strong tea that's been steeping for too long, or the water in a swamp. It's the natural result of blending all those botanical extracts. This was the original, unaltered color of Coca-Cola. If you had been there in Pemberton's backyard and sampled the very first batch, you would have been drinking a greenish-brown liquid. Now, imagine you're a salesman in the late 1800s. You're trying to sell a new beverage to the public. It's a competitive market. How are you going to convince people to drink something that looks like muddy water? Perception is everything. In that era, many of the so-called medicinal tonics were dark brown or black. They looked medicinal. But Pemberton, and especially Asa Griggs Candler, the brilliant marketer who eventually bought the company and built it into an empire, had a different vision. They wanted Coca-Cola to be a refreshing beverage, a delightful treat. They needed it to look appealing in the glass. A green, murky liquid does not say refreshing. It might say pond scum or something you should avoid. The color was a massive problem. They needed a solution, and that solution was a ubiquitous but cleverly used food additive, caramel coloring. Caramel coloring, known in the industry as E150D, is made by carefully heating sugar. It's the same process you might use to make caramel sauce, but it's controlled to create a very dark, rich, consistent brown color. It's one of the most widely used food colorings in the world, found in everything from soy sauce and gravy to beer and, of course, colas. By adding this specific type of caramel coloring to the mix, they completely transformed the drink's appearance. They took that natural, murky green and turned it into a consistent, clear, appetizing, and deep, rich brown. They chose brown because it was warm, familiar, and associated with other desirable things like chocolate, coffee, and roasted flavors. It made the drink look more substantial, more satisfying. The red packaging came later as a brilliant marketing stroke to make it stand out, but the liquid itself was now a perfect, uniform brown. This transformation wasn't just about making it look pretty, it was about creating a brand identity based on consistency. In the early days, Coca Cola was sold at soda fountains, dispensed from those beautiful glass dispensers into a glass. People needed to see a drink that looked the same every single time they ordered it. They needed to trust it. The caramel coloring ensured that no matter where you were, your Coca Cola would always have that same, familiar, comforting color. Without it, the color could vary slightly batch to batch based on the specific plants used, which was bad for business. The coloring made the product reliable. It masked the natural, and somewhat variable, color of the complex recipe. It created a unified visual identity that you could count on. This was a masterstroke of early product marketing. They weren't just selling a flavor, they were selling an experience, and a huge part of that experience was visual. The sound of the fizz, the feel of the glass, and the look of that dark brown liquid against the ice were all part of the show. A green Coke would have killed the brand before it even started. It's a powerful lesson in how much our perception of taste is influenced by what we see. Our brains make judgments before the liquid even touches our lips. If it looks unappealing, we'll think it tastes bad, even if the flavor is identical. The caramel coloring is a magic trick for your eyes, convincing your brain that you're about to have a delicious, refreshing experience. The story of Coke's color is also a story about the secrets and myths that surround this global icon. The famous secret formula is locked away in a vault in Atlanta, and while the caramel coloring is almost certainly a part of it, its role is often overlooked. It's not an active flavor ingredient, it's a cosmetic one. But its importance cannot be overstated. It's the reason the drink looks the way it does. And that specific, consistent brown is now as much a part of the brand's identity as the logo or the taste. Think about it. If you poured a cola that was green, even if it tasted exactly the same, your brain would reject it. It would feel wrong. This is why, even today, with all our modern knowledge and sometimes a desire for more natural colors, Coca Cola would never, ever remove the caramel coloring. To do so would be to destroy the single most recognizable visual aspect of the product. It would be corporate suicide. The color is now inextricably linked to the brand in our minds. So, the next time you hear the fizz of a Coke can opening, or you see that dark liquid poured over ice, I want you to remember its secret. You're not just looking at a brown soda. You're looking at a century-old decision, a stroke of marketing genius that dressed a green liquid in a brown costume. You're witnessing the power of perception, the magic of branding, and a simple chemical trick that helped build a global empire. It's a delicious reminder that sometimes, what you see is not what you get, and that some of the best stories are hiding in plain sight, disguised in a familiar shade of brown.